Et bonsoir à tous. Du coup, on se retrouve pour continuer notre aventure sur The Stanley Parable. Donc, il y a des chances que ce soit le dernier stream dessus, hein, car on a quand même bien avancé. On va voir. On va voir combien de temps il nous reste. En espérant que dans 1 heure, on n'est pas fini, hein, quand même. Que bon, sinon ça ferait un petit stream. Hop, du coup, on va commencer. Même que j'ai vu ton message, du coup, t'es honteux, hein. Honteux. Mais vu que tu m'entends pas, bah du coup, c'est rigolo. Allez, c'est parti! C'est parti, c'est parti. Du coup, il faudrait qu'on retourne là où il y avait le quiz avec le seau pour tester si on met lui à tout. Enfin, lui à tout. Si on met les autres réponses. Ça va être sympa. Hop,
All of his
alors.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
Il n'y a rien de
meeting room.
nouveau ici.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Il n'y a rien. Oh.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
Mhm.
co-workers.
Oh, nouveau jeu. Figurine Finder Committee Meeting Today in the meeting room. Oh, il y a un truc en rapport avec les figurines
Where are
là-bas?
we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Oh, bizarre, il n'y a pas tout le temps ce truc. Des fois, il n'y a pas la petite barrière. Bizarre. Je me demande si du coup, il n'y a pas des portes qui peuvent s'ouvrir maintenant. Bah, allez, on va avancer. On va aller là où on avait été la dernière fois. Et après, du coup, il faudra qu'on aille
Stanley
là-bas.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the
Quand on fera
bucket
tout ce qui
calling
est à
to him,
droite.
telling him that the
Et
employee
du coup, sur les
lounge
features
was
qu'ils nous ont
simply the
montré avant
best
qu'on refasse le jeu avec les
And
nouveaux
here it
trucs,
was. Had the bucket turned out to be
il nous manque pas mal
correct?
de
Was
choses.
this
Déjà, il nous manque
legendary?
encore 4
Never
figurines.
mind. The bucket was wrong.
Il nous manque 4
Stanley took a
figurines. On n'a pas
long
vu le
left
trou
to go
infini
back
encore
to
non
the
plus.
meeting room.
Donc, il nous manque quand même pas mal de choses.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room.
Alors.
Go somewhere else.
On avait fait le
Cargo lift,
téléphone.
yes.
Le téléphone,
Go
on avait
there.
fini.
Go to the good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top.
On avait
There's
récupéré une
something up
figurine
there
qui
I
était
need
là-bas
you
aussi.
to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have
Alors.
alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't
Oh.
talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
Apparemment, j'ai
He was
récupéré un
firmly
truc
convinced
intéressant
that
sur
the bucket
Pokékick.
had spoken to him, and
Hop.
he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Tuc tuc tuc. Donc là-bas, on peut pas y aller parce qu'il y a un panneau avec son interdit.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this
Et
point."
du coup, je me demande s'il y a un truc
How
de
could you
nouveau
think
là-bas
it
si on y va
was
sans le
okay to bring
seau.
the bucket here?
Peut-être qu'on
Unless-
essaiera.
What if the problem is
Quand
that
on
you
aura tout fini avec le
don't
seau.
know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have
Alors.
dire consequences on the
Ouvre-moi la
entire
porte.
rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please,
Alors.
step in here for a moment.
Fait tout noir. Cette zone. Y'a pas une
I'm
figurine
going to
d'ailleurs?
run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin.
Bon. Alors ça, la dernière fois, on a dit que c'était pas un seau.
Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Ok. J'avais peur qu'ils disent c'est vrai et ils disent vraiment que c'est un seau et que du coup, non, c'est un hologramme.
Item 2.
Enfin, dans tous les cas, c'est
Is
vrai.
this a bucket?
Ça, oui, c'est un seau.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Ok. Les tracteurs. Encore un seau?
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Ok.
Item 4. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you.
Ok.
Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Ok. Et encore le
Is
tracteur.
this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Ah, ça met n'importe quoi. Et du coup, est-ce que ça change quelque chose?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Ah merde. Je me rappelle plus. Euh...
Trick question. Both.
Ah oui, c'est les
got
deux,
it.
c'est vrai.
Item. Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here.
Ah
somewhere.
oui. Et là, j'avais mis oui, c'est un saut, y a rien. Putain.
Yes.
Oui.
Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless, is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
Non, tout n'est pas un saut.
You know what? I'm too confused.
Oh
to
non,
even
ça va faire les
speak.
mêmes fins.
I've lost all sense of perspective.
Oh, l'enfer.
What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Oh, l'enfer.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
Ok, c'est la même fin du coup. Et là, bah, il va
What
plus rien y
happened?
avoir.
Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my god, I had no idea. How could
Salut
except
Ethan,
me?
comment ça va?
I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Ah, ok. Bon. Du coup, je pense qu'on a fait tout ce côté-là. On va aller dans le... Je crois que c'est la salle de
All of his
maintenance.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
Hop.
meeting room.
Le
Perhaps
petit
a
saut.
good bucket, a strong
Ah, là, il n'y a
bucket,
pas la
a
barrière.
humble bucket,
C'est
a
trop bizarre.
committed bucket, a bucket of culture and
Barrière, il est là une
distinction.
fois sur deux. Oh! C'est revenu ça? Ok. Peut-être qu'on peut essayer de pas le louper cette fois?
Stanley
Hop.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Est-ce que du coup on va se
Stanley
retaper
felt the bucket
Challenge
calling to
jaune?
him, telling him that the employee
Ou ça va être
lounge was
différent?
simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Ok.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Y'a rien de nouveau là d'ailleurs. Bah, regarde s'il n'y a pas une figurine cachée, on sait jamais. Même si je pense que la plupart du coup elles vont être à gauche, quand on n'a rien vu d'autre. Allez, on descend! Hop là! Normalement si on fait ça, il n'y a qu'une fin donc... On va voir.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find
Oula.
this place eventually.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? We care about you, Stanley.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley.
What?
We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Oh, le camion qui bouge. Non mais c'est quoi ce bordel? What? Et les plantes et tout. Non mais c'est cool. Donc ça nos amis. Et ben. Ah il est tombé bien bas hein. On peut aller là-dedans? Oh oui on peut. Dites-moi qu'il y a un truc. Je crois que je commence à être déçu. Oh non, il n'y a rien dans ce placard, mais peut-être qu'il y a un truc dans notre placard original. Donc, bon, suivons la ligne jaune.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Oh non, la musique! Oh, t'es reparti. Oh, l'angoisse. J'adore cette musique. Bon. Voilà, c'est pas une figurine. Oh, putain. Oh, yeah. Oh, il y a des camions partout. Ok. Oh, j'adore.
Now this is
Oh.
what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Oh non, il va vouloir que je me débarrasse de mon seau. Je le sens. Ils ont même pas eu la peine de faire une vraie salle. Ils ont pris des salles de test. Je suis sûr qu'il va y avoir une figurine à un moment. Ou alors c'est déjà loupé. J'aime bien la musique. Oh, l'escalier de l'angoisse. Oh lolo. Mon dieu. Oh.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Ah!
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Oula.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Est-ce que... Je pense qu'on a le choix
Now
en
listen
vrai.
to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the
Oh my
Bucket
God.
Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket.
What?
Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they
quoi
want.
là-dedans?
Hurry and...
Oula. On est mort? Quoi?
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new
Mais
friend.
pourquoi?
For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Oh non, mais au secours, mais les histoires avec le seau, c'est n'importe quoi. Et maintenant? Ah, on revient au début. Ok. Et si on jette le seau, alors, ça fait quoi?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
On va y
decided to
retourner,
go
hein.
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hmm.
Ah, the embrace of an old friend.
Oh oui.
A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Encore. Attends, encore 3 ou 4? Encore 3. Bon. On peut la reposer, au fait? Non, on peut pas. Ok. Bon, voyons voir ce que ça fait si on détruit le seau. Ah, du coup, j'ai pas vu de figurine par contre.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the
Alors.
bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no.
J'espère que ça va pas faire exploser la machine quand même. Hein. Mais bon, peut-être qu'il sera content car le seau aussi sera détruit. Je sais pas.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance
Allez, on
section
descend.
and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
On va revoir la musique.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Mon dieu.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Là, je crois que j'ai eu un shiny. Incroyable.
Whee! Look at that wacky
Ah oui.
line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Non, on peut pas monter là. Ah.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is
Ah oui,
all
d'accord.
about. Don't you
Ah,
remember
vraiment
all
courte,
those
en fait.
great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Ok. La machine.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character.
Est-ce que du coup je peux jeter l'objet?
Is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess
Yes,
what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go
Oh, yeah.
ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Pourquoi je peux pas le jeter?
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer
Je peux
will
pas.
do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one
pas le détruire.
personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if
pas.
you were to really
Non.
explore the bucket destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and
Au
nuance that
secours.
it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of bucket
Je peux
destroyer
pas, je peux pas,
merchandise
je
the fans
sais.
will be clamoring for after this.
Je me suis fait
Okay,
arnaque.
the bucket destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the bucket destroyer until you crush that damn bucket.
Oh.
Quickly now. The
Ah ouais, c'est
fans
trop
are
tard là.
waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Bon. Bon. Bah ils m'ont pas laissé, ils m'ont pas laissé le choix donc. RIP. RIP destructeur de seau.
The bucket destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spell-binding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time
Goodbye,
that you
my
were
lover.
here, you were
Goodbye, my friend.
magnificent.
So long. Bon bah, allons voir ce qu'on peut faire dans la porte de droite du coup. Ça m'a pas réinitialisé
All
mon
his co-workers
truc.
were
Une pute, ça.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah merde, il est parvenu. Ça m'inquiète. On
The
le saute.
bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker.
Oh
In
non,
time,
mais il est encore
perhaps,
plus
he
là.
would become both of those things.
J'ai envie de pleurer. Bon. Allons à droite.
Stanley clutched
À
the
gauche.
bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Ok. Et ça part de figurines à la réunion, donc... peut-être une figurine ici. Oh. Oula. Oh. Ok. Momo from management, ok. Oh, mais ça avance. On est aux toilettes. Ok. Ah, d'accord, c'est vraiment un truc. What? Employé 416. Ok. Thank you, good luck. Ok. Bah déjà on en a trouvé une donc c'est cool. Et ça reprend au début. Alors Royleton. Ok. Moi j'ai pas une idée. Est-ce qu'on peut les vendre? Mais. Ok. Bon bah. Là, je vous... Ah attends, c'est des indices sur l'emplacement où ils sont? C'est something to do. Oh, oh. Intéressant. Intéressant. Alors la question c'est... Est-ce qu'il y a un nouveau truc ici?
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that,
Comment ça?
can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply That you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together.
Mais...
Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Ok. Moi, je peux rien faire d'autre.
Okay, I've got
Oh.
you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go.
Oh. Oh.
There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Ok.
Alright, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm
Mais
going
non.
to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of
C'est
applications
n'importe
for
quoi.
this sticker.
Est-ce que si je fais ce sort et que je re-rentre, ils me remettent un autocollant?
You know what? I could take the name calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Mais au secours. Ok, je pense que c'est fini. Bah, allez, on sort. Allez, il me reparle pas si je passe pas la porte de l'escalier, c'est ça? Bon. Ok. Bon.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
On va aller en bas parce qu'il y a moins de trucs en bas, donc je pense que c'est mieux. Et puis ça paraît d'escalier pour une des figurines, donc je me demande si... Ah.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Ok. Et bah 2-3, donc on a la moitié, c'est bien ça. Firehouse.
But
Okay.
Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
Oula. Oula. Il se passe. Attendez. Il y a un bug. Oh là, il y a un bug. C'est l'enfer. Oh non. Oh, c'est quoi cette musique flippante? The fuck, Bob? Je crois que je vais devoir relancer le jeu. Fuck. Bon bah, je relance le jeu. C'est pas grave, ça met pas longtemps. Ça passe. On refera pas le truc du placard. Hop. On n'a rien vu. Hop. En tout cas, la fin en bas, elle a l'air
All of his
assez
co-workers were gone. What
pareil
could it mean?
que l'ancienne.
Stanley decided to go to the
Donc
meeting
faut
room.
voir.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Ah, donc lui, ça a bien confirmé. Nanana. Donc somewhere above red and blue. Quelque part avec du rouge et du bleu. Je sais pas où c'est
Coming to
ça.
the staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Allez, c'est parti.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms.
Non, soit il y a du bleu et du rouge. Hein.
He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground.
Mais on connaît ça déjà.
Gracious, he exclaimed.
Je
Without my
m'envole!
bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next.
Attention.
None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
Oh
He
l'enfer.
had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Ah.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Putain, je pense que c'est la même chose. Enfin, presque.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got
Comme
dressed,
attention.
picked up her bucket of comfort and
Oh
security,
l'enfer.
and walked to her place of work.
Mais
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
n'importe quoi. Bon. Du coup, bah maintenant on va monter, on va aller au bureau
All
du
of his
boss.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
J'ai
Flip
déjà
the
le
door
succès.
5
M'en
times. Is
fous.
that... It takes a lot of humility to
Alors.
carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his
Ah, c'est
EQ
revenu.
and then proceeded onward.
Ah, c'est bon. J'arrive pas à appuyer. Alors. Du coup, je me demande si la pièce bleue et rouge,
Stanley
c'est pas
clutched the bucket tightly to
la
his
salle de
chest
bain.
and entered the door on his left.
Je me demande ce que ça fait quand on a récupéré 6. Allez, on monte.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Et alors, ce champ-là, c'est rouge. Et la salle de bain, elle est bleue. Il y avait une photo. Oh. Let's go.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Ok. On a toujours rien à faire ici. Non, y a rien. Du coup, est-ce qu'il y a un nouveau truc? Là. J'ai pas envie d'aller là tout de suite. Mais ici, ça m'intrigue. Y a rien de nouveau ici? Non. Bon. Est-ce qu'il y a un nouveau truc avec l'ascenseur? C'est bon. S'il y a vraiment rien. Oh, je suis sûr que je me fais prank encore. Bon. Ah, y a rien, laisse tomber. On va pas repasser 2 heures comme la dernière fois là-dedans. Allons dans le bureau du boss. Bonjour patron.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would.
Est-ce que c'est le même
And
truc?
he knew it. The two of them were
Ah non mais on
inseparable.
connaît pas, vas-y, on laisse.
At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad was 2845.
Ah oui, c'est le même. Attends, mais il se passe pas un truc si je fais rien? Je crois qu'il se passe un truc si je fais rien.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Mhm.
2845.
Je mettrai pas ton code. Ouais, ouais, ouais. Je me mets là, je suis bien là.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by
Ah putain, ça s'ouvre tout
and
seul.
Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Ah merde. Bon, c'est... Je me rappelle plus qu'elle s'ouvrait toute seule. Bon bah... Oh!
You're
Salut toi.
getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anmarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one.
Le nom est
And
déjà
then the
de plus en plus
first
n'importe
number
quoi.
will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anmarines. None of us can.
Ok. Bizarre Hervé Max, hein. Bizarre. Hop, allez on descend. Oh oui, de la lumière. Let's go. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Bon. Je pense qu'on va aller là où il y a Escape en premier, s'il y a encore.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Alors...
Stanley and the
Ouais, il y
bucket
a
walked
encore.
straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Qu'est-ce qu'on a ici?
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Wow.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Oh yeah. Allez, let's go, on saute. Wouh. Pouf. Donc, pour l'instant, c'est la même chose. Ah ouais. Totalement la même chose.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Ah.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
Wouh. Let's go. Alors. The Stanley
It
Parable.
was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets
Such
are
chose.
radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Le seau. Tout blanc. Le seau vous accueille à la grande exposition. Vous vous tenez au bord du savoir. Tout comme un seau, l'esprit humain est souvent vide à l'intérieur. Un vide caverneux. Mais grâce à l'exposition qui se présente à vous, l'esprit peut se remplir, s'enrichir et être satisfait. Les connaissances du sceau et son histoire sont les seules que nous ayons véritablement. Utiliserez-vous ce que vous avez... Hein, oula. Utiliserez-vous ce que vous apprenez ici dans le monde extérieur? Accepterez-vous l'esprit ouvert, ce qui peut paraître complexe? Quant aux informations de cette exposition, changerez-vous votre vie et la vie de vos proches suite à cette exposition? Ou fermerez-vous les yeux pour continuer à vivre comme avant, dans l'ignorance et l'obscurité? C'est quoi ce bordel? Oh! Ah, mais c'est d'où je viens! Trop con.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
25 seaux. Une photographie de 25 seaux, le plus grand nombre de seaux pris en photo à ce jour. Le photographe a souffert d'une catatonie de plusieurs semaines causée par l'euphorie de l'exposition à tant de seaux à la fois. Ah, quelque chose me dit qu'il y en a beaucoup plus que 25 là. Hein. On va les compter. 1, 2, 25. Bon, il y en a plus que 25. Pourquoi il y a une porte, c'est beau? Un seau à 2 anses. Oh! C'est pas normal. Ce seau est illustré avec 2 anses. Cependant, un tel concept n'a jamais existé en vrai, car il est considéré comme trop risqué et dangereusement expérimental. Chaque année, des dizaines de personnes sont mises à mort pour le simple fait d'essayer. Quoi? Quoi? What the fuck, quoi? Seau infernal. Une reproduction du seau infernal qui au Moyen-Âge avait un attrait si intense que des dizaines de pays s'affrontèrent pour en obtenir le contrôle. Il y a eu des milliards de morts, et malgré tout, ce simple fait demeure, personne ne peut contrôler un seau. Bizarre. Oh. The Stress Bucket Analogie. Le seau du stress présenté sans commentaire. D'accord. Pourquoi il y a des chaises partout comme ça? Qu'est-ce qu'on a en face? Wow. Dessin de grotte. Si nous savons que les sceaux précèdent l'existence de l'humanité, nous ne savons pas de combien de temps. Ce dessin d'une grotte illustre la découverte humaine précoce des commodités du sceau. À cette époque, le sceau existait déjà depuis plusieurs millénaires. Observé dans ces dessins comme le sceau se laisse utiliser, ayant jugé les êtres humains comme étant dignes de ces trésors. Monsieur Courbe, c'est là. Je sais pas ce qu'ils ont avec le seau, mais. Oh.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Ok. Oh, on peut pas aller là-bas. Oh. Ah, le fameux. Oh. C'est ça le puits sans fond? Le trou sans fond? Le seau accroché. Cette œuvre symbolise la relation nécessaire entre le seau et l'humanité. Quel que soit ce que nous comprenons sur le seau, il y a toujours plus de connaissances qui restent inaccessibles. Cette distance est forcément pour notre bien. Je veux... Oh.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
Oh.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Ah. Bon bah. Au moins c'est clair. Hein. Bon.
All of his
I'm dead.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Encore.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh. Du coup, il y a...
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace.
Les autocollants, ils restent du coup.
Yet delicate, assertive, yet compassionate.
Bon.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Faisons le vrai chemin maintenant. Ah, donc c'est le truc rouge et bleu qui nous manque. Ah ah. En tout cas, il nous manque plus qu'une figurine et ça, c'est cool.
Coming
Mais
to
où
a
est-ce qu'elle peut
staircase,
être?
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Alors.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Alors, descend. Wouh. Bou, 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 bou. Du coup, si on se retrouve au même endroit, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? Est-ce qu'on commence par le on ou le off? Ah ah.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Il y a peu de juste en fait sur les câbles, il n'y a que des sauts.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Ok.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket
Oh.
in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
N'importe quoi le saut au secours. Hop.
Was the
L'ascenseur.
bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Allez, on monte.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
C'est où? Oh, c'est là.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? On commence par on ou on commence par off? Hmm. Hmm. Je pense qu'on va commencer par off, hein. Hop.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes,
Oh.
they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and...
Oh.
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room. lingering in uncertainty. Until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Bah non. Bah. Bah, c'est trop triste. Comme ça, on est bloqué à tout jamais avec le seau.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
Déception.
co-workers. Stanley's bucket, the only co-worker he would ever truly need.
C'est encore reset le truc des écrans. C'est fou ça. Bon. Bah du coup on va l'appeler sur on. Hein.
Touched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
On va quand même pas exploser encore. Ce serait triste.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs
Hop.
to the boss's office.
Et du coup je pense qu'on aura tout fait avec le seau. Hein. Et du coup il y a encore des trucs qu'on n'a pas vu. On n'a pas vu le trou géant.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this but
Allez.
Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Alors descend. Wouh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. On descend. Bon du coup c'est long, on doit tous se retaper, mais vas-y pas grave. Hop.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
De toute façon il nous manque une figurine, mais je pense savoir où elle est en vrai. Vu qu'il y a un endroit où on n'a pas été. Car on peut pas y aller avec le seau.
On an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Hop. Boing, boing, boing.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring.
J'arrête, faut regarder aussi dans la salle vite fait, et que je vais passer assez vite, mais ça se trouve il y a peut-être une nouvelle porte ouverte. J'ai même pas été voir la porte, et qui est toujours fermée là.
Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
À la vente!
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Le truc c'est, est-ce que si on fait les chemins sans le seau, est-ce que c'est les chemins du truc original?
Or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good.
Elle appuie sur on!
Best, but at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Quoi? Qu'est-ce que... Silly Birds? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Oh, les perroquets!
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
C'est quoi cette fin? Mais what the fuck? Bon. Bizarre, hein. Bizarre.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Bon, en tout cas, on a fait tout avec le seau, là.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe si on part sans le seau? Oh! C'est pas pareil! C'est quoi ça? Ouais! Le truc n'est pas identique. Mais on revient ici quand même. Bizarre.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Non, moi
This
je
was
veux.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Bizarre.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Est-ce que c'est bizarre?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
C'est bizarre.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
Mais c'est le même truc vu qu'il y a les trucs pour qui nous permettent d'avoir les figurines.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Les rouges et bleus, ça peut être les portes en fait, tout simplement.
I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important.
Let's
Stanley
go!
walked through the red door, and there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
C'est tout? Ah, je suis déçu. Allons à la porte rouge.
Thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Oh. Ok.
What do we want? What
Ça, on
are we
connaît du
looking
coup.
for? Here. Yes.
Oh, l'enfer.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley,
Ah, ça fait mal aux yeux ici.
Happy. No, wait. Where are you going?
Bon.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley. No! Oh, no.
Oh, l'enfer.
No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Me casse. Aïe.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Bon. Et du coup, je sais pas s'ils ont remis le trou sans fond. Hein.
Is it over?
Oh.
It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Je vois pas ce que j'aurais loupé. Après, on peut peut-être essayer de retourner en arrière avec le saut. Oh, il n'y a plus les... Il n'y a plus les... Oula. Qu'est-ce que c'est que cette histoire?
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figlets.
Oh.
I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines.
Ah.
Just one more time.
Ah, on retourne là-bas? Ok. Ah, ça fait longtemps. Wednesday phone the collectible. Oh non. Mais. Fous de ma gueule. Tu t'as foutu de ma gueule. The Memory Zone. Zone Sud Zone. Oh. The Original Remake. Je sais pas si ça a changé ça depuis la dernière fois. On me dirait pas. C'est même Good Time? Ouais. Qu'est-ce qui a changé? Ah oui, oula!
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
7 sur... What? Donc ouais, bon, on va récupérer encore ici, du coup ça va nous emmener à 12. Arrête. C'est la zone de stockage là.
And here was a second Stan Loreen. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Où est-ce qu'ils vont m'emmener à en récupérer là? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Ouais, sur les escaliers.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Oh,
Let's see, what came next?
qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room.
Ah, bah
Oh,
non.
well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
C'est quoi cet endroit? On n'est jamais venu ici. Ah, t'es connard? 10 sur 6. On va en avoir combien à la fin? The fuck? Ah, là oui, là on connaît.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was behind the boss's office. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the
What?
occasion. Enjoy.
Mais c'est quoi ça? Mais... N'importe quoi. Oh, au secours. Ah, ce jeu, mais il me fume. Mais pas watching. Mais pourquoi faire ça? Crédit, passe de narrateur, il était... Daring Stanley.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of
Oh, ils sont
time making that
cons.
video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Oh. Oh, ça me fume. Ah putain. Aïe aïe aïe. Ok. Donc là, on va aux portes. Ouais. Quand tu fais des vidéos en 2010. C'est ça.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others.
En
Who
180p.
can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Ah, ça mène au même endroit. Du coup, on tourne pas à la salle de bain. Qu'est-ce que... What? Oh. C'est quoi ça? You are in the present. Et dans le présent.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
Bah, d'accord.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
Mais on va en avoir combien de figurines sur les ramasses? Au secours! Qu'est-ce qu'il... Attends, si je re bien. Ouais, non, ça change rien, ok. Ah, et qu'est-ce qu'il me fait?
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind.
On va
Let's keep
faire ça
going. I
combien de
want
fois?
more.
Oh, mais... Au secours. Oh, il va pas nous remettre la vidéo.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video.
Oh, j'en peux plus, au secours. Oh, l'enfer.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
Oui, j'adore cette vidéo. Il y a pas de... Et même... C'est pas ce qu'il a dit? Bizarre. Peut-être un bug dans la traduction.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
On peut ne pas prendre? Je sais pas. Bizarre. On peut aller là du coup? Ah non, c'est tout noir. Oh la tristesse. Mais si ils nous font revenir par là, on essaiera d'y aller cette fois. Oh putain.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
On peut crever. Et je sais pas si où ça va nous remettre si on crève. J'ai peur de tenter quand même. Hein. Pas rassuré.
This is it, the very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Qu'est-ce qu'il y avait avant ça? Co-exam hall. Ok. Oh. Oui, on connaît ici, on est revenu là. Oh,
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more memories.
encore. Oh l'enfer. Oh bizarre les couleurs.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Ok. Et on revient au bureau.
And before everything else, there was your office.
Ouais.
Was there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
On m'emmène où là?
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions, he would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Oh shit. Mais qui est? C'est fini?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
C'est fini? Ou c'est pas fini? Bizarre. Bizarre. Si on prend le chemin de base. Ah, c'est normal.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ah, c'est l'ancien bureau.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
J'ai l'impression qu'on a fini le truc.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Bizarre.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety.
Oh non, elle va nous remettre la musique.
So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Oh, ça se trouve, on fait ça pour rien, on a peut-être déjà fini. Hein.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
On a peut-être fini. Hop. Sinon, il faut voir si ça change quelque chose si je prends le seau.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Je sais pas où je vais, mais j'y vais.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Twing, twing, twing.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Okay.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Hop, alors on monte.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The
Ok.
heart of the operation. Controls labeled with
Ouais, je pense que la fin on et off, elle
or
sera rapide.
sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery...
Bon.
blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes.
Allez, cette fois on passe la
He
porte.
had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber,
Vraiment
he
cette porte.
realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
but to let
Oh yeah.
go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Allez, je me casse.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Bon. Tuc.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally.
Oh.
This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Yep, dis pas le même truc que d'habitude. Bizarre.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any. Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No, no, surely not.
J'ai pas l'impression qu'il y a de nouveaux trucs, hein. J'ai pas l'impression.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Si on va
This
par là.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to
On dirait
be.
qu'on a fini.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no, never mind.
Bon.
The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. And so he
Vas-y,
took a
retourne.
detour through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good Stanley, I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the adventure line? We could make the adventure line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's... Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Oh mais cette musique. Oh yeah. Ouais.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Bon.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Bah, j'ai l'impression qu'on a fini, hein. Je me demande si s'il n'y a pas de nouveaux trucs quand on ferme la porte.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes. But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure beyond any
Les objets, ils volent
doubt
un
was
peu.
that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Non, vraiment, ça change pas?
Even
Ah bah
now,
merde.
Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Huh?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Pourquoi j'ai l'impression que ça change à chaque fois que je reviens? C'est trop bizarre. Est-ce que par exemple, si on revient au menu, il y a un nouveau truc? Retour au menu. Épilogue. Oh! Mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Alors peut-être que c'est pas fini finalement. Épilogue. Ces fameux trucs qu'il y avait dans la salle bien des années plus tard. Oh. Qu'est-ce qui se passe ici? What? Et cailloux partout? Oh. What? Qu'est-ce qui se passe encore? Ils essaient de me barrer. Oh! Il y a des chaises partout. Mais ils ont pris de la drogue. Qu'est-ce qu'on est lent. Oh. Oh. Y'a rien. Oh, ok. Ok, c'est juste l'heure qui change. Lever du soleil. Oh! Ah mais c'est la zone de mémoire! On dirait qu'il y a un générateur. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Oh! The Stanley Parable 2. Ah! Mémoire. Et Loving Memory. Oh. Ok. Suivons le câble, hein. Oh, Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Oh, y'a Cookie 9 qui a fait une critique! Mais non! Oh non. Comme beaucoup d'autres, j'ai bien aimé le premier Stanley Parable, ce qui souligne à quel point je suis déçu de cette suite. Là où le jeu d'origine brillait par son originalité, The Stanley Parable 2 est ennuyeux, sans inspiration et bien souvent insultant à l'égard de ses fans. Plutôt que de surfer sur ce qui avait fait le succès du premier jeu, la suite nous emmène vers des territoires qui n'intéressent personne. Un trou sans fin qui ça intéresse. Où sont les nouvelles fins? Et ces séquences amusantes de Stanley Parable 1 comme la ligne d'aventure Ulsa, on nous sert une quête annexe peu inspirée à base de collecte de figurines. Même cette diversion laisse un goût d'inachevé. Trouver toutes les figurines. Mais ils sont cons. Oh, Cat Dog Born. Mais oh l'enfer. Oh, on va dans un con... Qu'est-ce que... Développeur de Stanley Parable. Plus de spin-off, plus de suite, ou plus de spin-off, plus de suite. Quand The Stanley Parable a connu son succès mondial en 2013, ses créateurs ont envisagé de faire fructifier ce triomphe en créant une véritable franchise. Mais la réception critique désastreuse et l'échec commercial de Stanley Parable 2 ont forcé les développeurs à revoir à la baisse leurs ambitions. Ainsi qu'ils expliquent dans un communiqué de presse publié aujourd'hui, il apparaît clairement que les fans ne veulent pas plus de Stanley Parable. Peut-on lire dans cette communication? Nous pensions que notre vision pour l'avenir de la série réjouirait les joueurs. Malheureusement, nous n'aurions pas pu être plus éloignés de la réalité. Le communiqué de presse poursuit en promettant de préserver l'intégrité artistique du jeu original et d'arrêter d'agresser les fans par nos visions créatrices, inconsidérées et insultantes. Le mot désolé apparaît plus de 25 fois dans le communiqué. Hmm. Hmm. Pourquoi c'est éclairé ici? Oh, il y a des boutons. Oh putain. Let's go. Je suis Jim. On est tous Jim. Même Hervé Max c'est Jim. The world is Jim. Oh, il y a des lumières. Jim. Oh l'angoisse. Ok. Il y a des filles. On peut les récupérer. 19, 20, 21. On va en avoir combien? 26 sur 6. Bah, let's go, hein. Fais tout noir. Fais moins noir. Thank you for enjoying the new command. Ok. Un truc qui fait de la lumière là-bas. Ok, on peut pas interagir avec ça. Rebonjour. Ravi de vous revoir, de vous voir. Mais c'est horrible d'apprendre qu'un nouveau jeu Stanley Parable ne verra jamais le jour. Avez-vous vu ce que les développeurs ont dit? Préserver l'intégrité de la franchise? Quel ramassis d'idiotie! The Stanley Parable n'est pas sacré. Il n'y a nul besoin de les protéger. Oh diable héritage! Continuons de créer des jeux Stanley Parable jusqu'à ce que le soleil explose. Mettons cette franchise à terre. Traînons-la dans la boue. Et si le public déteste, qui ça intéresse? Vous voyez, c'était ça le problème du narrateur. Il faisait une fixation sur ce que les gens pensaient de son travail. Ne faites pas la même erreur. Ne vous attachez pas à l'héritage. Laissez-le se désagréger. Ce n'est pas difficile. D'ailleurs, je vais vous montrer. Ensemble, nous allons créer The Stanley Parable 3. C'est simple. Il nous suffit de changer le numéro sur l'écran titre du jeu. Il nous faudra aussi un sous-titre débile pour le jeu. Un truc bien cucu. Et qui se remarque. Essayez de combiner des mots au hasard pour trouver un nouveau titre pour notre jeu. Allez! Qu'est-ce que... What? The Stanley Parable 3? Le bébé, des os dus, le trimestre dû, des temps oubliés dus, à la recherche du, mi-employé du. Quai de gare, disque dur, sprint, cri, petit dernier, bâton de dynamite. Le bébé bâton dynamite. Attends, on peut mettre plusieurs. Le bébé bâton de dynamite. Ah non, on peut en mettre qu'un, merde. Ça aurait été stylé, le bébé bâton dynamite à la recherche du disque dur. Voilà. Ou même du quai de gare. Confirmé. The Stanley Parable 3. Le bébé bâton de dynamite. C'est absurde, j'adore. Dès que vous relancerez le jeu, nous passerons au chiffre suivant et choisirons un nouveau sous-titre. Et ainsi, The Stanley Parable ne connaîtra jamais de fin. Et rien ne changera dans le jeu quand vous ferez ça. Ajouter du contenu, ça demande du travail, inutile d'aller jusque-là. Ce serait juste le même contenu recyclé à l'infini avec un nouvel écran titre. Qu'est-ce que vous en dites? On va être de plan? Moi, ça me plaît. Mais vous avez aussi votre mot à dire. Oh. Et qu'est-ce qu'on fait? C'est l'enfer. Ça va être sans fin. On fait ça ou on ne fait pas ça? Hmm. Hmm. Je me demande ce que ça fait si on fait l'autre, quoi. Oh, l'enfer! Je sais pas. Oh, c'est cool. Allez, on fait ça. Et bien, dans ce cas, c'est décidé. Une nouvelle suite dès que vous commencez le jeu. Et vous savez quoi? Puisque vous avez cru en mon idée, j'ai envie de vous offrir un petit quelque chose. Il me semble que le narrateur n'a pas réussi à vous remettre ce succès cassé, n'est-ce pas? Bien sûr que non. Je ne m'attendais pas à des miracles de sa part. Ça m'embêtait. Je vous propose qu'on règle ça. Et voilà la machine à succès réparée. Vous voyez, je suis de votre côté. Nous sommes ensemble, vous et moi. Et ensemble, nous ferons avancer ce train. The Stanley Parable ne doit jamais s'arrêter. Il devra tourner sur lui-même pour l'éternité. Je dois continuer à faire tourner la roue. Moi je suis prêt, vous aussi? Formidable! Nous n'avons plus qu'une chose à faire. Entrer l'heure actuelle. Ah! 21h, c'est quelle heure déjà en heure américaine? Oh l'angoisse. Je sais jamais. Ça doit être 9h, non? On- Ah non, si je descends, ça va me refaire passer à 8h, c'est ça? 48? Allez. Déplacez le curseur jusqu'à ce que l'ordinateur soit à peine visible. Merci. Profitez bien de Stanley Parable. What? C'est quoi cette voiture? Faut aller sur quoi du coup? J'ai hésité à cliquer sur épilogue moi.
This is the
Mais
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
c'est la même chose. Hein? Bizarre. Oh. Retourne to the Stanley Parable Expo Hall. Quoi? Qu'on a vraiment fini le jeu ou? On comprend pas. Bizarre. J'aurais dû aller sur épilogue, je pense. Vas-y, on va voir si ça change quelque chose, sinon on va voir épilogue.
You see, Stanley,
C'est
I've
marqué
been
quoi?
reflecting on the
Ah, new
Stanley
content.
Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Ah, mais on connaît ça du coup.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. And it
Je pense qu'on reprend la même chose. Retour au menu. On va aller sur épilogue. Épilogue. À moins qu'on ait pas. Ou alors à chaque fois qu'on va refaire épilogue, on va changer le nom du jeu, c'est ça? Bien des années plus tard. Oh putain. Je crois que c'est ça. Hmm. Hmm. Bon. Bah du coup, on va pouvoir tester ce que ça fait si on met non. En vrai. Et je suis curieux de voir ce que ça fait. Oh putain, le truc long, attention. La tempête. Allez, Oist. Mais du coup, est-ce qu'on peut prendre le saut pour aller au new content? Curieux. Ok. Ok, nous voilà là. Bon, c'est un peu long, mais bon. Allez. Au moins, si c'est la fin, au moins, comme ça nous fera. Ça nous aura pas fait un petit live d'une heure, ça nous aura fait quand même bien 2 heures de stream. Hein. Donc bon. Nice, hein? Nice, nice, nice. On va tenter voir ce que ça fait si on dit non. Hop. Oula. Un petit gym? Allez, un petit gym. Mon dieu. Est-ce que si je reprends des statues, ça me refait encore plus de statues? Ouais, elles y sont plus. Ah non, elles y sont plus. Ok. Alors, en dessous. Hop. Un ordinateur. Rebonjour. Ravi de vous voir. Pour l'instant, ça change pas. Mais c'est horrible d'apprendre. Ne verra jamais le jour. Ouais, t'en connais. T'en connais. Hmm. Oh. Nous allons créer cette année Parabole 4. Oh, putain, ça change. Il suffit de changer une. Oh putain. Oh, c'est pas les mêmes! Stanley contre le cowboy le mardi. Mi-employé, mi. Et quoi? Où est passé le sinistre? Plus de carré. Dès qu'il y en a un. Oh, on ne fait pas ça. Je comprends. Parfois, il est trop tôt d'avancer. Ce n'est pas grave. Si vous changez d'avis et vous voulez créer de nouvelles suites, venez me voir. Je serai là. Mais on peut faire ça combien de fois? Mais what? À chaque fois, on va se retaper le long truc avant. Oh. Mais, mais est-ce qu'il y a une fin au moins? Non, parce que là, bien des années plus tard, mais oh, j'ai l'impression de faire ça pour rien. Oh l'enfer. À chaque fois, c'était des nouveaux mots en plus. Au secours. C'est un enfer. Le truc, c'est que s'il y a un truc après, je sais pas combien de fois je dois faire ça, quoi. C'est pas moyen de deviner. J'aurais dû regarder si les messages étaient les mêmes. Allez. Ouais. Ok. Après, j'ai peur de... Hmm. Par exemple, si on va pas là-bas. Si on va par exemple là-bas, est-ce qu'on se fait TP autre part? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Ou juste on s'éloigne pour rien? Oh! Ah, ça nous remet là? En boucle? Il n'y a plus la musique. Encore? Bon, vas-y, je vais mettre 203. Ah non, il veut quoi avec Gojo là? Qu'est-ce que tu fous? Ça me paraît plus loin par là-bas. Je sais pas. Ah, ou alors c'est de plus en plus proche. Je dessine Kirby. Waouh. Tu dessines une boule rouge quoi. Ah, c'est vraiment de plus en plus proche? Il a son Pikachu. Oh l'enfer. Peut-être qu'on tient un truc là. Hmm, ok. Peut-être pas finalement. Difficile de se refaire un repère quand même, hein. Euh, Oh, c'est l'enfer. Ouais, non, c'est pareil, je pense. Bon, bizarre. Bon, du coup, il nous laisse pas le choix, hein. On peut pas toucher à ça? Non. Bon. Du coup, ça a pas changé, hein. Non, ça a pas changé. Et celui-là non plus. Hmm, je me demande s'il y a une limite quand même. Oh, bonjour. Et... Bon, voilà, ça me fait plaisir de vous revoir. Oh, mais ça a changé? Vous avez repensé à mon idée d'inventer des petits sous-titres rigolos pour les suites? Absurde détergent. Voulez-vous commencer dès maintenant? Bien, dans ce cas, c'est décidé, une nouvelle suite dès que vous commencez le jeu. Vous savez quoi? Puisque vous avez j'ai envie de vous offrir un petit quelque chose. Ah oui, mais on le sait ça. La machine. Est-ce qu'il faut retourner à la machine à succès du coup? Ah. Vas-y, on met une heure au pif. Bon, vas-y, on met ça. Allez hop, déplacer. Ouais. Ok, on va retourner à la machine à succès du coup. On va retourner à la machine à succès.
All of his co-workers were gone, What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Et même comprend le saut.
Stanley lifted his bucket. He felt a connection to all buckets everywhere. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Allez, let's go. Ouais, s'il nous parle de ça, c'est que c'est pas anodin. Et si ça se passe rien de nouveau, bah je pense que ça veut dire qu'on a fini.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
Wait, Stanley, I've just now realized. That bucket you're holding, it's the bucket I've been working on for my sequel. How did you get your hands on it? Isn't this the preview to the sequel?
Oh.
Why do you have the bucket already? This makes no sense at all.
C'est nouveau ça? Mais, let's go.
Hold on. Did I already show you my ideas for the sequel? I don't remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order.
Yeah,
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Ouais, mais j'ai 0 truc restant. Bon, on avance, hein.
The infinite hole, the giant door. Did you see them already? Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How did they look when you saw them? Were they captivating? Were they exciting? Did they fulfill on the promise of everything that a sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game? Wait, if you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly. Yes, you carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish. The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did it! I win! I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable. Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging tightly to the bucket, never letting it go. It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers. It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket is the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket. I win, I win, I win, I win, I win, I win.
C'est quoi ça? Bah, let's go. Nice, on a trouvé un nouveau truc.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. What new mysteries lay in store for our bucket-loving heroes today? Let's find out.
Sophie, quoi? Au secours. Je me retape le même truc si je veux là. Expo Hall. Je me retape pas tout, j'espère. Non. Et bah allons à l'expo avec le sto directement. On va voir ce qu'il va nous dire.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Let's go.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully
Et du coup, ça te choque pas que j'ai déjà deux sauts?
new experience,
Enfin, que j'ai
built
déjà un
from the
saut.
ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really. Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Vas-y, on va aller voir le saut quand même. Voir ce qu'il va dire du fait que j'en ai déjà un. Oh,
Wait, there are 2 buckets here. How did you get a second bucket?
Let's go.
Oh no, the warmth and comfort of a single bucket is already so great, so intoxicatingly wonderful. With 2 buckets, there's no telling. Stanley, can you still hear me? Are you with me?
what?
Stanley! Oh,
What?
thank God, I didn't lose you. Stanley, the power of 2 buckets was too much. I had to destroy both of them. I know how much the bucket meant to you, but I couldn't take the risk.
Mon
I
saut!
hope one day you can forgive me.
Pourquoi? Mais... The fuck, bro? Oh, je suis déçu. Il a détruit mon saut. Bon. Je m'attendais pas à ça. Bah allons voir le...
Okay, I'll be
Ah
honest, I
merde.
haven't yet
J'aurais pas dû
decided on
passer
this
par là.
one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Let's go. Du coup, maintenant j'aurai des ballons de bleu partout au lieu des...
Maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
C'est... Alors...
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Oh, je l'ai eu!
As you can see, the machine is not working
Attends,
yet.
succès test est ignoré.
Wait, what in the holy hell is going on? You got the achievement? Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here?
Il y a vraiment des nouveaux trucs.
Oh, God. Composure, composure. Yes, as you can see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended. It truly speaks to the awe-inspiring magic of the Stanley Parable 2. Breathe. Just breathe.
Ok. Et du coup, je pense qu'il y a un truc avec les statues aussi. Je pense qu'il y a un truc avec les statues.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Car normalement, on n'est pas censé en avoir autant. Oh! Oh non, c'est fermé! Oh, je suis déçu. Oh non. Est-ce qu'on va se refaire un petit trip dans le trou infini? C'était trop bien ça. C'était trop bien. Allez, go. Et après, je pense qu'on peut partir.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever.
Allez, let's go!
Infinite falling. You can fall
Et après, on
to
part et
the
puis du
end
coup,
of
on verra
time
ce
if you
qu'on.
like. A
On essaiera de
Stanley
faire le
fall
prologue une
back
dernière
in.
fois.
Isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Ça, j'en avais pas fait du coup.
Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I've prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to... Oh, for heaven! You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length.
Laisse-moi remonter.
Let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there
Oui.
it is. The shame of my... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still
Marche
nothing?
pas.
Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this.
Allez,
I'm
vas-y.
out.
Fais-moi
Goodbye,
descendre.
Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Ok. Je veux descendre. Je veux refaire ce truc incroyable. Oh oui. Oh, let's go. C'est parti. Attention, ça va être dingue. Hein. Ça va être une dinguerie. Oh my god. Cette vue, elle me fume. C'est génial. Ah putain, mais c'est vrai.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up the spirit.
Mais what? C'est n'importe. Oh! Ah, erreur.
Stanley?
Non!
Stanley! Oh good, you're awake. It seems you had
Les gars, tu vas te retrouver sur la chaîne de PC Sam.
drifting away into dreamland.
Ça serait si drôle.
Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment.
C'était si drôle.
So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really truly focused on the hole?
Ouais,
From the
laisse-moi
looks of
sortir.
things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle pip.
Ça fait quoi? Bon. Ah. Alors,
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
du coup, est-ce que ça change quelque chose si on va là?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim.
Okay.
But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. Jim. Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
Oh no.
Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine. All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in
Let's
front of a
go.
different feature that I worked very hard on?
Je sais plus, je suis en train de tout
Maybe
défoncer.
I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable 2. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Bah je pense que du coup on a tout revu. Est-ce que cette porte elle est ouverte maintenant ou pas? Paramètres champion du monde, putain c'était fermé avant. Ouais non, on peut toujours pas y aller. Bon bah on peut partir. On peut partir. Et du coup on va retenter l'épilogue. Et juste voir si je sors il nous dit quelque chose de nouveau ou pas.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2. All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Ah oui mais il va se nous retaper le truc avec toutes ses features. Oh. C'est vrai.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Waouh.
I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go, version 2.
Oh l'enfer.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it, no matter how good these gags are. Now, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Eh mais reviens là. Ah d'accord, ça m'a réinitialisé le truc. Mais what? Donc si je reviens là, avec le succès cette fois. Puis sinon bah je pense que ça veut dire qu'on a fini hein. Que du coup il va pas. Genre il va dire que j'ai le succès. Perdu dans le désert depuis trop longtemps. C'est la mer. En plus on est long. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh l'enfer. Tac tac tac. Pas trop déçu qu'il n'y ait pas de biome désert dans les gens d'Arceus. Ah non, bien. Bon, est-ce que ça va avoir changé quelque chose? Sinon, bah, je pense qu'on a fini. Hein. Après, ça me ferait chier d'avoir loupé un truc, mais bon. Pa, 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 pa. Pop. Hmm, bloqué. Ok, let's go. Bon, ça a pas l'air d'avoir changé, hein. Bon, retour à l'ordinateur. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il va me dire cette fois? Rebonjour. Ravi de vous voir. Mais c'est horrible d'apprendre. Oui, 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 oui. Stanley Parable 5! Un samedi soir avec un trombone, quoi. Mais l'infini Khadgar, le seigneur du crayon, la malédiction du trombone. Docteur. Oula. La malédiction du crayon me fait bien rire. Non, du trombone. Du trombone, c'est encore plus drôle. C'est absurde, j'adore. Dès que nous passerons au chiffre suivant. Ouais. Et ainsi ne connaîtra jamais de fin. Et rien de. Ok. Demande, une suite d'aller jusque-là. Envoyer de plan. Ça me plaît. C'est ça. Euh, Vous savez quoi? Puisque j'ai envie de vous offrir un petit quelque chose. Si, je l'ai. Bien sûr que non. Avec ça. Et voilà, la machine est réparée. Vous voyez. Ah, je m'attendais à un truc du coup, vu que j'ai eu le succès. Profitez bien de cette année Parable. Oh, ça a encore changé. Bon. Vas-y, vous savez quoi? On refait une toute dernière fois, et puis si ça change rien, bah ça sera la fin. Hein. Je pense qu'on a fini. Hein. Je pense qu'ils vont nous prendre jusqu'au bout. Toc toc. Bon. En plus, vu qu'on commence à revoir des trucs pour le nom qu'on a déjà vu. Voilà quoi. Ah, du coup, je suis déçu pour le succès. Je pensais que ça avait fait un truc. Mais peut-être que c'est ça, hein. Peut-être que c'est juste pour ça, du coup, l'épilogue. Ça se trouve, c'est peut-être juste pour avoir le succès et puis c'est tout. Hein. On retourne dans le désert. Insupportable. Ça va, elle est pas trop forte ta musique? Que moi ça me gueule dans les oreilles. Ok. Alors. La petite der. Le petit dernier essai là. Voir si ça nous débloque pas un truc. Sinon, bah. Voilà. J'aurais quand même vérifié si. S'il y a pas un truc, mais bon. Après le stream. Et je pense pas en vrai. D'ailleurs, il y a pas un truc derrière celui-là, j'ai pas regardé. Et non, je pense pas. Je pense qu'il est collé au mur. Ouais, j'ai pas essayé de voir ce qu'il y avait derrière. C'est tout noir. Bon, ok. Certainement le dernier Doom qu'on entendra. Bon. Je me demande si le haut bonjour c'est que quand on fait non, on veut pas faire de suite. Rebonjour. Ouais, je pense que c'est ça. Ravi de vous revoir. Nanana, 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 patati patata. Allez. Stanley Parable 6. Mon dieu. Et le truc, c'est que je me demande, est-ce qu'il se passe un truc si on arrive au 10? Mi-employé, mi-fruit. Où est le... Où est passé le soleil? Et la fin n'est jamais le... Mi-employé, mi-fruit, il est incroyable. Alors on fait ça. Ok. Bon. Alors. Oh. Bizarre Bob. Bon bah je pense qu'il n'y a rien de nouveau, hein. Je pense qu'on est bien. Je pense qu'on a tout vu. Ah, du coup c'est plus les mêmes
All
ballons.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Du coup ça y est, on a les
Stanley
ballons bleus
decided to go
maintenant.
to the meeting room.
Bon.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
On a que les ballons bleus.
Now this, Stanley thought to himself, this is a bucket. And indeed it was.
Bon.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
Bah je pense qu'on a
and
tout
closed the
vu, hein.
door on his left.
Je pense qu'on a tout vu.
Still no one was here. Stanley
Ok. Oh l'enfer de ce truc. Bon. Ça me paraît pas mal. Hop. Ouais, voilà, souris. Là. Parfait. Bah du coup, on va s'arrêter là. Hein. On va pas refaire l'épilogue en boucle. Surtout si ça change rien. J'irai quand même regarder s'il n'y a pas un truc au bout d'un moment, mais... Mais voilà. Je pense pas en vrai. Enfin, pas au bout de... Ouais, sinon... Sinon, il aurait fallu voir jusqu'à 10, mais... Ouais, non, je pense pas. Enfin, 10 voire 11. Mais je pense qu'il n'y a rien d'autre en vrai. Et je peux... Y'a quoi sur mes crédits? Ouais, les crédits complets. Ah, pas, ok. Ok. Bon. Bah du coup, on se retrouve demain soir pour continuer Tomb Raider. Ça va être sympa. On va avancer tout ça. Et puis, bah jeudi, on se retrouve certainement pour du GTA 5. Hein. Je pense. Je pense qu'on va faire ça. Hein. On verra, mais il y a de fortes chances que ce soit ça. Et d'ailleurs, je me demande si vendredi soir, on va pas se faire aussi de la chasse sur Diamant étincelant et peut-être qu'on va refaire un peu de Red.js. Voilà. Peut-être un stream plus court, mais peut-être qu'on fera ça. Donc voilà. Et je me mettrai en box si jamais il y a des gens qui veulent rejoindre pour discuter. Wally walou. Bon. Bah du coup, je vous souhaite à tous une bonne fin de soirée, une bonne nuit. Et puis je vous fais des bisous. Allez, ciao tout le monde.